Hi, this is another part in the series of demos of the tool rsNeatPublish, which deploys SQL Server Reporting Services objects to an SSRS report server. For this demo, I'd like to cover the functionality around importing an SSRS project file. So before we perform the import of the SSRS project settings, we'll start by looking at the project in bids. It's recommended we do this to make sure the project builds and deploys as expected before we import. So let's build first to make sure we don't have any object reference failures. As the build is successful, let's have a look at the deploy. Firstly, the SSRS project's properties. We choose the debug build configuration. This will be the one we import. You'll see when we do the import, the build configuration is selectable. Then we look at the settings for this build configuration. We want to override data sources. We want to publish our objects to the appropriate folder names. For the sake of this example, let's publish to my data sources, my data sets, my reports, my report parts. And set the target report server URL. Now let's deploy the project. We see this too is successful, so let's check on the server that the objects are there and that they resolve. They look okay. Now that we've checked the build and deploy are successful with the appropriate project properties from within bids, now start up rsNeatPublish.xml generator, which creates the input file for rsNeatPublish. Let's import the SSRS project configuration file. Before the import, we are asked for the build configuration. Recall that we modified the debug build configuration so that this is the one that we'll import. Just a few things to note regarding what has been imported. Web service URL is derived from the target server project properties. The source path is where the SSRS project file is located. The data source's target folder name is also taken from the project properties, as has the overwrite data sources flag. As well, the definitions and source target locations of all objects have been taken from the project file. So the SSRS project file contains most of the information we need. We'll just want to amend a couple of things to make sure that we deploy everything as intended. As we're deploying to native SSRS, we won't set the SharePoint deploy checkbox. as we want to deploy into the root folder of our target, we can leave the target root folder and target subfolder fields blank. How would we like the data sources set up? Let's have one using Windows Integrated Security and one using a Windows Authenticated Service account. Then we should check the data sources to make sure they connect successfully. Now that we've checked the import, we save the configuration file . Then to check our deployment, we can run rsNeatPublish from within the rsNeatPublish XML generator UI. Before we run the deploy, just to make sure, let's delete everything that we deployed prior via bids. So to deploy, we select Publish, Save and Publish to Server. Again, let's check on the server that the objects are there and that they resolve. Just one further thing. When we selected Publish, Save and Publish to Server within the UI, in addition to publishing the SSRS objects to the server, this process also creates a batch file containing the command used to publish, located in the same folder as a saved XML file and has the same name but with a .bat extension. This command can then be used to deploy for your release process and/or continuous integration job. That completes the demo. Thanks for your time.